Committee meeting, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So my understanding is we have no public comments, so we'll get right into the buildings and ground meeting. And we'll have a update of our summer projects. I believe that's Mrs. James. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. So we'd like to start the summer project update. We're starting with the fueling stations. There we go. So if you recall, the fueling stations are located over near the maintenance, between the maintenance building and Landisville Middle School. Those pumps have arrived now. They have been placed on the pad, and they're working on the installation of it. The project should be complete. Actually, this has changed since I even made this presentation. The project should probably be complete at the end of next week. Fuel is coming tomorrow, so we're moving right along with this project. Next. And we just have pictures of the pumps arriving. You can see here in the picture to the right, the difference between in sizes. The one to the left is the 4,000-gallon tank. The one to the right is the 500-gallon tank. One with the larger one is the one that's going to hold the gas, and the other one will hold diesel for the district fueling. Okay. The roofing project. This is the roofing resurfacing or recoating project that is going on at Landisville Primary Center and Landisville Middle School. The coatings are moving along on both of the buildings. Are projected to be completed by mid-October. The Landisville Primary Center should actually be completed maybe mid next week. What they'll do at that point is take all of the workers on that project and move them over to LMS so that project can be completed in a timely fashion. So things are going well with that. We are hearing that nothing unexpected really is coming up. We've had some tests already with the rain, and we're not getting any leaks or anything anymore. So we're moving along well with that. And we're already working on next summer. I know we're not even finished with this summer, but we're working on next summer. So as per the 3-year cap reserve project that all of you had approved, we are moving on to next summer with working on the HVAC for the Landisville Primary Center. These would be the unit ventilators in the classrooms. They would be removed, and also we would be adding, or we'd be changing out the piping in the ceiling, and we would also be looking at the lighting in that building. We did put this out to bid, and it'll be closing in October. We did put the lighting as an alternate. So if we look at pricing and prices come in higher than what we had originally anticipated, then we can always decide to not include the lighting or include the lighting. This would be the time to include it, but we do have that opportunity or that option to not include it. So we are moving through plans on that. Those plans will begin or would begin if everything is approved. Those plans would begin, or that work would begin after school lets out at the end of this school year. They will continue into the next year's school year with an expected date of completion sometime around Christmas of that year. That would be at Christmas 2026 or end of year 2026. So we are having to do quite a bit of maneuvering with that to move classes around to still have functioning school year and still get the work completed.
All right. I did have a question on.
Could I say something first? I just want to commend you, Mrs. James, for taking such good care of our property. We know that you took on a big job when you first started. Lots of things were not done that should have been done. And you've got to, we're all caught up, and it's due to your diligence. And I just really appreciate it. And I just wanted to say that. I mean, taking care of our property is a huge responsibility for this board, and we rely on people like you to make it happen. So thank you.
Thank you.
Heating, that would be the third year. That-
Yes, that would be, so next summer
Summer
would,
be LPC,
and
okay.
then LMS would be the year after that.
And
Yeah.
then this is more for Mrs. Johnson. I'm assuming when these tanks are in, we're both leaving the board, and part of being able to leave the board is we could bring our vehicles over and just fill up.
That's
A nice
probably a
perk.
question for Mr. Bremersky.
Okay. Well, maybe that needs to be just
That
out
would be a
in the
no.
October finance meeting. I think both Mrs. Johnson and I would be quite happy, to be able to use the gas tank and.
Wouldn't that be nice?
with
Although
that-
if you were
We'll say
interested in
I
being-
wasn't planning on that, but
if you were interested in being a bus driver, or if you were
There you-
interested in.
I could
serving
drive the
that capacity,
minibus and.
Then we can talk.
Thank you anyway.
And any issues with this roof coating? It's kind of a new idea. Is everything going well
E-
for the contractor?
yeah, I've been really pleased with their work. Anytime we have any issues, concerns, they address it immediately. They've been very communicative. They have meetings held every week to give me updates, and everybody's working together. Where are we in the project? What needs to be done? What's the anticipated date of that? So they've been very, very good about that sort of thing. Anytime they've also set up a text between all of the parties. And so if we have had times where drains have been overflowing or something like that, there was a leak, and all I did was text and they were on it immediately.
Okay,
So yes, I've been very pleased with how things are working with this company.
excellent. Any other questions for Mrs. James, summer projects? All right, well, we'll move right on to finance, short building and ground today.
All right, the first item we have is the contracts, and you're going to see a list of the contracts in your information. I don't know if I can pull that up, but it's pretty small. So this will be, these contracts will be on for review today and then on for September 30th for approval. Well, actually, it's today. So I guess we're approving all these today?
No.
No, just the two?
You're reviewing it today?
All right, just review today on the ones on this list. There will be two contracts we will be approving today. One is the Apple contract and one is the contract for the DJ for homecoming. So you can look at this list. Does anybody have anything they want to talk about on this list?
Yeah, because I brought it up before, and I mean, after I
Thank you,
didn't
Donato.
see the barn contract, but after getting the information from the AD, I'll support at least for this year. But I guess my question is, because we're gonna have this new high school, we're gonna have to get mats and stuff for things. Can we possibly look at getting the mats earlier for practice and putting them in an elementary school or one of the middle schools until the high school is ready to take over the wrestling? Because my understanding is once the high school's done, there's going to be plenty of space for all the wrestling programs to go on. And that's just the thought for the following years to be able to do that, to save some money. You have to buy the mats regardless, and practice mats will not go to buy regardless, instead of just get them early and put them in another building and
We
work
can
out.
certainly explore that and follow back up with the board at a later time.
So what exactly you're proposing? I'm not clear.
Well, this year, use the wrestling barn. The contract, the way it's worded is we can exit at any time. I'm assuming that with the addition and stuff, we will put new mats, wrestling mats in, and we will purchase them. So purchase them early and put them in, even like LIC, it would be close by. And this would be for practice only for the teams. It would cover the space that's needed. There's plenty of bathrooms and things.
So you're suggesting getting new equipment, but using our facilities?
Right,
That
well,
we
yeah,
have
get the new mats that we're going to need to get for the new high school, get them a year or two early and put them in to work out whatever building, and then the kids can still practice. It fits the needs that the HY, whatever they call the youth wrestling program, can still use it, and you could even still have, currently, I guess because the girls are practicing here and the boys are practicing at the barn. Well, if you have the mats in another building, you can still continue with the girls practicing here or the other building, and the boys could practice at the same time.
My understanding was that we did some exploration of this. I don't know if you're comfortable sharing anything, Mr. Lance, if you have anything to add to this conversation, but you're welcome to share if you do. Hey, up the mic, please. There's some people that struggle to hear.
Yeah, I'm just here to answer any questions and provide things. I appreciate the suggestion. I think we can look at all those options. If I don't have to turn that around in a month for this year.
No,
that
I
makes my
would,
life a
because
lot easier.
I do know
Um,
winter sports.
We run into, in
we-
my office, we run into having to be mindful of what the building principals at all these locations use their space for, and what happens if we would have to roll the mats up, and does that still create a safe enough space and enough room for their programs that they have? But as I think Mike said,
No, that's.
we
yeah,
have
I would
time
expect-
to kind of explore different options. But
Yeah,
yeah,
because again,
sure.
winter sports start the second week in November or the first week.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I would not expect
Sure.
that. I just thought, that might be an option again.
I have a question. How many mats are used for the boys' team during practice? 2, 3, 4?
Well, it's more kind of a wall-to-wall mat, so it's going to be more than two. And where they're at now, and then the new location in the third of the Buchanan, it would be 2 full mats, but then it's going to be filled in wall to wall. It's not just 2 mats that are set there. The whole floor will be, so it's a bigger area than that.
So you need more than 2 mats worth of space for practice?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
not that, I think it's a good idea to always explore everything. I think you know that. I trust you have plenty of time to do that. I've been around some of the cleanup related to that, and you do have to have a safe place to store them. It's a lot of work to get them up off the ground, to tape them. I think we have to think about all those things,
Sure.
but we'll wait for you to come back with something more.
I had a question. I'm glad you're here because I was
Sure.
like, oh, that's Director Canadian.
There's a lot going on outside, so this is a nice little break to get inside.
So and because I'm new to this and learning about this, can the administration or you would remind me of the lease we had before? Because I saw a big difference in cost from the 4-year lease we had before to this 4-year lease that we would be agreeing to now. And it kind of like shocked me.
Yeah.
The difference,
So-
right?
Yeah, so I'm going to defer on that. The lease was before I started here, and I don't
Me
I don't, I don't really get involved in the finances and stuff. I don't know, Mike,
Yep, I can pull it.
if I'll pull that to you.
Yep. So we had the lease prior started from during COVID when we needed additional space because we were not able to have enough safe social distancing, all of that. And so the arrangement that was worked out was that it would be $1 a year for the first 3 years. And then following that, it was, I believe, $20,000 for the 4th year. And that was to cover additional costs and things associated over time to help defray costs. It didn't cover all of the costs. It just helped defray the cost based on the willingness of the group to allow us to use that facility. When That contract then expired. We have to reach out to update the contract. And due to all the costs associated with using the facility, that's why the costs came back. The costs were a lot higher than what we had budgeted. So therefore we went back and said, we cannot do this. You know, we need your best and final offer as to what can be done so we can really analyze and see, can we do this or not from a budgetary standpoint? Which is then why you see the contract that you have today, 16,000 in year one, and then it goes up every year after that.
So like I did the math, and
Yeah.
so the best and final, if we use it for all 4 years, that's
Correct.
like the last lease would be $100,000 compared to $20,000. So I was a little
Yep.
concerned about that and wondering maybe why the 4-year contract wasn't maybe around 20,000 and or, you know, adjusted for inflation, adjusted for whatever. That's a big jump to me and it makes me quite
What-
nervous.
what
It's only a jump because we got a huge break from what the market value of that property was. And that is the only reason it's a jump. We're actually paying probably less than fair market value for the space now or close to that. And the jump is because we got such a huge break in the beginning, not because we're being overcharged.
Oh, I mean, but on paper, it just is, whew,
Yeah.
like, I mean, it was very concerning and it was prior to my time on the board, so.
Right.
And then my question for Ryan
Sure.
is, because I didn't have this information either, like, do any other of our sports teams, like Hempfield sports teams or extracurriculars lease another space at this time for practice or workouts or anything?
Not the exact same lease. Our swimmers use the Hempfield Rec Center. Our golfers use Four Seasons. Our bowlers use Leisure Lanes. Our golf team also uses leisure lanes because Four Seasons doesn't have a driving range, so we kind of have to use both facilities. And then we do in not on an everyday case, but when we get to situations with severe weather, we do have a small allowance for our spring teams to sometimes utilize the Nook as a rental when we're getting close to postseason and they need a place to practice and it's lightning. So, but golf, bowling, swimming, and wrestling are the 4 sports that we go off campus.
The tennis team at the rec center, is that just part of the,
So tennis is, I mean, the rec center, the relationship with that's a little bit more involved
that
than
was
just
the
me
part of it,
because
yeah.
I meet with Mr. Book several times a year, and our relationship is with not only tennis and swimming at the rec center, but we also have the childcare, which is a big part of our relationship, which is not involving me.
Right, yeah.
So when you look at what we're charged or the finances, I don't know how that all works, but it's a big partnership and.
It is a mutually beneficial partnership for what they offer versus what we also get and the needs. And so every entity that we work to develop those partnerships with, we try to make it as mutually beneficial. When we have to lease facilities or use other, we end up in agreements. And I know in the past, we've also shared a diving coach with another district.
Miss Manor
And,
Township, correct.
so when we don't have that ability, then we develop a contract and we have to work through that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to space that we don't own or we don't have the ability to have a partnership with, then we're at the mercy of what they need in terms of recouping costs based on the use and the space because it's held up for a period of time. We do have in the contract during the wrestling season, we do have the availability of use from the facility from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Because there are times when practices are in the morning just based on scheduling. Sometimes then they're in the evening, but we did not want it to go past 10 p.m. So that students and at our home, we try and get students out of our schools for other things as well. Their events, not just athletics.
It's not an exclusive lease with our district.
When we have first right to that space. So during the wrestling season, it is for us during that time frame. Yep.
Okay, I think it's important for everyone to remember how we got here. And I mean, we've been talking about this lease for about the last year and a half. So with everyone's indulgence, I'll just give a real quick recap of how we got here. During COVID, we didn't have enough space for everyone to practice and comply with various social distancing protocols. The Shope family offered up the space for us, and we've been using it off and on ever since. By all accounts, it seems to be working well. It seems to be a good functional space. Mr. Wagner, Mr. Landis and I toured it a couple months ago. First time I had actually been inside. It's a nice facility. We all understand that this is a temporary solution until the new high school is ready, and we all have legitimate concerns about how much this is going to cost. We have asked the administration to go back, sharpen their pencils, talk to the Shopes about the cost. They have done so. The barn burners and the Shopes have been very generous with the district up to this point. And we have exhausted all the other space options in the district. We've looked at having wrestling practice in the elementary schools. We've looked at the Franklin Gym. We've looked at every other space in the district. So at this point, our choices are either schedule wrestling practices at inconvenient times, flex the boys and the girls teams so we can share the space here, cancel one of the programs so that we don't have enough room for them, or find some other facility to use in the interim. No one likes to save money more than me. Would I rather not spend $25,000 a year? Yes. But if we're going to have a wrestling program, we need this stopgap solution to get us from now until when the high school is ready.
I couldn't say that much better than you did, Mr. Keener. That was well said, and I support the fact that this is the right thing to do for the program. So
Can someone?
we're not voting on this tonight, so this will be
Well, I
on the
mean,
agenda for the.
Mr. Walkermuth, I mean, if this, I mean, I think this will probably ultimately pass, but if it doesn't, do you have enough time between October 14th and beginning of wrestling season to either shut a program down or pull a rabbit out of your hat, or would you need a vote sooner?
Well, I'm not shutting any programs down, just rest assured of that. My job is to figure out things and make things work. It would be quite a scramble, and it would be some real inconvenient situations trying to figure out what to make it work.
We need the space. If we can't use the space, if that's the board's decision, then we are going to have to go somewhere else. We cannot put everybody in our facility when you look at from a timing standpoint at this point, based on sheer numbers, because our girls wrestling team at the senior high level use the facility. They wish to stay here and use the facility. Our junior high girls wrestlers who have the availability to wrestle, we don't have a junior high team at this point for girls. Based on numbers, we may need to add one. So our senior high coaches then stay and work with our junior high, so they need a space. Then we have the boys team, which from a size standpoint makes it difficult in the current wrestling room. So that will have to go into shifts. And so we are looking at probably after school through 10 p.m. Nonstop, and you will displace the youth. And we're not saying that's even going to solve the problem at this point. So as we work through things, to Mr. Keener's point, yes, when high school, the new wrestling space is ready, we're going from 3,900 square feet to over 5,100 square feet in the space. So the space will work. But we are stuck with space at this point. And so if we don't do this, we are going to displace the youth, and we will have students coming from right after school all the way through as late as possible in the evening. And it will be on shifts. And I don't know that our coaching staff is up for that. And if we then have to find new coaching staff, we're going to have an issue with teams. So I don't know the ramifications of all of it, but that's just some initial conversations that we've had.
If I can say the one good problem we have, which I'm really proud of, and I credit a lot of it to our coaches, our girls wrestling program has exploded, and it's taken off, and it's been a tremendously positive thing for our school district. And to see what started as a handful, I think the first year I met with the one young lady, and we were thinking there might be 2 or 3 girls, and now we're over 20 last year in a relatively short amount of time. So the addition of girls at the senior high, and now we're starting to see more and more interest at the junior high, is part of the reason that that there's a little bit of a space issue. But of all the things we have to work through, that's that to me is a really good problem, because it's been a great program for us and for our girls.
I just have to say, we supported that program and starting that program. Everyone, the coaches have done a phenomenal job of developing that program and building it. To pull the rug out from under that because of this issue would just seem totally wrong to me. I think we need to put this to bed and move forward and give them some kind of reassurance that we're going to continue to support the program that we voted to start.
I'm fully in favor of this, and basically those first few years, they gave it to us for free, so they're probably still, we're still getting a good deal. Question, to just put things in perspective, do we know what our total athletic budget is yearly?
Yep.
Ballpark?
It's about $1.2 million,
Okay, so $1.2 million, and we're gonna
less
spend,
than 1%
okay.
for our
But
operating budget. And we spend about 1,000, in 23-24, we spend about 1,024 dollars per, excuse me, per athlete, which put us 8th out of 16 school districts.
okay. So I think the 25,000 a year out of 1.2 million for 2 wrestling programs, especially a girls that's emerging, women's that's is emerging, I think it's a great thing. And I agree with Justin and Grant.
Mrs. Brady has a comment online as well.
Thank you, and I apologize for any background noise. One question I had, and given the concerns we all have about our ongoing budget situations, I hear the urgency and the need for this year, but we had earlier conversations about maybe compacting the schedule of months, not going as far into the off season, and maybe bringing down the cost even a little bit that way by shaving the beginning and the end time frame of the contract. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about why that didn't proceed and if anybody else had considered that.
I think the original contract I saw was 5 months, and I had shared that we would only need 4 months. I don't know what it looks like right now.
I think it was 4, and it was possibly even 3, depending on postseason. We don't know students qualifying in postseason. So it would be basically November to December, December to January, January to February, and then February into March is the postseason, correct?
Yeah, so if we get to late February after the sectionals, the number of wrestlers participating at districts and states drops off quite a bit. And I do think we have the facility to handle boys and girls by that point.
I thank you for coming and
Sure.
sharing all that information with us. I sat here and was really excited. I think we had ended up with 9 girls on the first team. I don't like hearing we're going to cut a program at all. I'm maybe not start a program, perhaps, but not to cut a program. And I'd just like to see a straw poll who's in favor of this, so it gives us an idea. I'm in favor of it. Charles and Justin are. I don't know about everybody else, but
As
if we can't find money to support our teams, which we have pledged to support them, not extravagantly by any means, we need to rethink what we're doing here. And that's just my thoughts on it. I've never been to a wrestling match here. I have been to wrestling matches. And I just think it's important. That's part of supporting our students and the whole child, the whole student and their experience here. And I think they've got enough things to think about. And if the wrestlers are going around, are they going to cut our program, and the parents? And I don't think we need to do that. So I'm for this. And I'd like to know what everybody else is thinking who hasn't said.
Since I started the conversation, I started off with, I'm for this, I will vote for it at the meeting because I think it's needed for this year. I was just looking at, again, possibilities, though, leaving the board, but again, we're still building the high school and there's costs involved with that and things. So I was looking more for the future of, the way of doing things. I definitely wouldn't when thought of this, thought, oh, no, you know, it'd be a little different if it was May. Came up with that idea, but again, you're dealing with fall sports and you also have to get ready for,
Get ready for the
and I
season.
would recommend hiring 3 more assistant athletic directors so you can figure out what to do, how to get the bats in here and where to put them in 6 weeks. So that's just for things, but I will vote positive for it.
My wife wants me at work away from the craziness at home, so don't hire more athletic
Okay.
directors.
And again, it's, you know, that I didn't see the area, you know, I heard from the people, it's great. And the presentation you gave with the girls, you know, again, having daughters and things, and just thinking one bathroom is
Yeah.
definitely not enough. And they seem very happy. If I remember correctly, they were at one time given the option of going there, and didn't they say no? They
Yeah, so
This-
I've spoken with coaches and I've spoken with girls just because I wanted to make sure we were compliant with Title IX with our boys using the barn and the girls using the high school room. And consistently, the message I've been given is the girls are very happy with here because there is better and more bathroom facilities. And I feel they feel it's their space and
Right.
they like going after school right here. So I think it's worked really well. for them.
Yeah, and they get to practice. You said they practice right after school.
Right.
And unless there's a batch, you know, they're done at 5 o'clock.
Yep.
And so I think for what there's at least 4 of us for your straw poll that will vote for it, Mr. Keeter.
Yeah.
You would say,
I'll support it.
so there's the 5 votes too. So I have no more questions about that or the other contracts. Thank you for the discussion. Thank you for coming.
I want to say something about the Hempfield Rec, put in a plug. We at one time discussed, do we really need to keep someone, our presence on the Hempfield Rec Center board? And we decided that we needed to, and I served for a while. Currently, it's Pat and Judy who are on the board. Obviously, by what we heard tonight, we have a close relationship with that and with the community, with the rec center. And when it comes up again to appoint, every year you get to appoint somebody. And I think it's really important that the board continues to have a representative on that board. They do a great service to our community across the board, and we want to continue to support that as well as look out for our own interest.
Yeah. And I mean, the facilities for having a neighbor that played on the tennis team, graduated, going to the facilities there to have home meets, I'm sure for the girls and the boys is a whole lot better than our.
Yeah, so the partnership has really helped our district in the sense that our playing surface for our tennis courts is something that is going to eventually need addressed, but the stopgap kind of with construction coming up and all that cost, they've agreed to allow us to play all of our home matches at their facility, which has been tremendously helpful. And it's been well received.
And it's a whole 5-minute drive from here to.
Mr. Wagner's also online. I'm not sure, Mr. Wagner, do you have any questions or comments?
He's coming back on as a panelist.
Can you hear me?
We can now.
Okay, sorry, hang on one sec. All right. Yeah, for what it's worth, good conversation. I've been listening for a while. Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of questions around this this agreement, the proposal, the contract. I've got a lot of thoughts, opinions about it, which I will reserve for another day. The reality of it is, it is clear that we have a need. It's clear that the facility that currently exists for the wrestling program serves that need and frankly serves it very well for a lot of different reasons. And so, yeah, I'd be in support as well. I will probably have a couple of thoughts, comments, questions, opinions, maybe even a couple caveats. But at the end of the at this point, yeah, it does make sense to me. And I'll share some additional thoughts, probably later on, or certainly at the public meeting in October when we talk further about this. But as for now, yeah, I agree with everything that's been said.
Any other comments or questions on the contracts up for review? And then I'd like to call Mr. Graham, if there are none, to speak to the Apple contract that is up for approval tonight. And then we'll also, as part of that, be approving the Mixed Impressions DJ for the homecoming dance, October 4th. You can see why that's on the agenda so quickly, because that's right around the corner. So does anybody have any other questions on the contracts up for renewal or review?
I do. This is Mrs. Brady. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I just wanted to reiterate what Mr. Wagner had said. I understand the need for it. I've been convinced of the quality of the facility at the barn and the crowding conditions we have. My caveat would be that I'd like to see wording clearly that specifies that after the end of the regular season, we could stop it at that 3-month mark. And, if there's a price savings there to be applied, I think we need to look wherever we can for the smallest amounts of savings we can get at this stage. And I think that's all.
Any other comments or questions? And then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Graham. All right, hearing none, you're up, Mr. Graham.
All right. Try to get through here pretty quick.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Landis.
He needs to get to cross country senior night. Thank you, Ryan.
All right, really quickly here, this presentation is going to be really real short because originally it was planned for later on during budget season, but due to some timelines with the one-to-one lease we currently have, it kind of got pushed up to tonight. Over the years, several of you, that's fine. Over the years, several of you have asked me about whether there's some ways to alter the way we're doing one-to-one leases to get some additional time out of those leases, extend the life of the hardware we have. For a variety of reasons, this didn't work in previous years, but due to some changing conditions and the fact that we've continued to look to see if that is an option, we have come up with a way to work in a 4-year replacement cycle with our one-to-one iPads. And the contract for approval this evening is for switching the lease that was approved back in April from a 3-year to a 4-year, and then leases going forward would be 4 years as well. So again, this timing was a bit rushed here, so I don't have a ton of details. We'll have more to share in the springtime when numbers are a bit more finite, but we would be looking at switching from the current 3-year replacement cycle, which sees new iPads in 1, 4, 7, and 10, to sort of some shuffling around of things. We'd still be retaining 3-year cycles in secondary, mainly because that area you do see much heavier use, more use of newer features, need for a longer battery life, things like that. Grades 3 through 6 would retain the same iPad the entire time. 1 and 2 would receive iPads that we shuffle down in the 4th year as well, because down in those grade levels, while they are still definitely used, use is a bit more akin to a lab setting with some use at home, as opposed to some of the heavier use you see in the upper grade levels. This took some planning. We're still working out how some of that shuffling is going to work with transitioning from a 3-year to a 4-year, but that is the current plan we're working on for upcoming years. What that looks like in terms of savings, Apple has been holding very firm at their 0% financing, which has been great to see. So going into the 26-27, our fair market leases are ending. We still have a number of iPads to replace with that. But beginning in 27-28, we would need about 3 grade levels instead of 4 to replace. So you're looking at fewer iPads being leased every year. There's some additional costs with cases. The short summary up there, though, is looking in 26, 27, about 50,000 in savings, and then 27 and beyond, over 100,000. Again, we're still a good ways out from here to really nail those numbers down, but I'm confident enough in what that reduced or that extended replacement cycle looks like to be able to bring that here and recommend it. And again, we bring more info back in the spring. But the savings there, looking at the budget for next year, I think this is a good idea. We've run it past the rest of the team. Again, in a perfect world where money was not an option, that 3-year replacement cycle would be great to keep, but I think we can make this work without really dramatically impacting or seriously impacting any program in the district. So with that, the lease that's on there, again, the reason it's up for approval tonight, since we are flipping an existing lease, the timeline for Apple to do that is closing very, very quickly. And we wanted to get that done this evening as opposed to waiting until October, which was past their deadline, to maximize the savings.
Thank you, Mr. Graham. What questions do you have for Mr. Graham?
I have a question, or I just want to make sure, I mean, you said you're not anticipating any large difference or, anything happening, but if your department can kind of keep record, or, if we're all of a sudden seeing a lot more issues because we're extending that, it just so we have the data then later to look at it and go, okay, are we going to continue doing this? Or that would just be helpful, I think, as we transition to something a little different.
We can. I'm not really worried too much about first and second grade. Historically, the middle school has always been the worst in terms of damage.
You feel the need to.
I don't anticipate
look
that
at there.
changing, but yeah, we certainly will keep records and can go back and look at that.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Wagner, Mrs. Brady, any questions?
Not a question, but just thank you for that creative thinking. I think if it works out, that's really wonderful. And I appreciate the time you put into figuring all that out.
Yeah, I'd agree. No questions for me. Sounds pretty straightforward, though. Thanks for the work, Mr. Graham.
Yeah, I echo what was said. I think I was probably one of those people that charged you with looking at that a little differently, and I appreciate you going back and doing so. Thank you. Any questions about the mixed impressions DJ agreement? That's the other one that's on here for approval. All right, hearing none, then I do need a motion and a second to approve financial action item number 5A, which are those two contracts, the Apple lease and the mixed impressions DJ.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Donato. Thank you, Mrs. Johnston. As a second, and all those in favor?
In favor.
Yes.
I guess I didn't have discussion, but we covered that. So I think that vote was 8-0. Yeah, thank you. And then last but not least, we do have a policy item on here. I know it's not policy evening, but Mr. Keener can share a little bit about this since he's the lead of the policy committee. And then we do have two policies on here, action item 6A and B. So Mr. Keener, do you want to share a little bit about that? And then, or do we want to, I can get a motion and then a second, and then we can share whatever you want to do.
Sure. So, yeah, let's just streamline this. Let's get the motion and then we can update.
All right.
Discuss.
All right, there's two policies on here. We talked about at the last meeting. We went back and revised those. There was a call with a small group of us, not a quorum, but a small group of us with Dr. Musser to talk through some of the language related to these two policies. And so they're here for your review and then hopefully approval tonight. So I'm going to need a motion and a second, and then we'll have discussion.
So moved.
I'll second it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Keener, and thank you, Mr. Donato. So some discussion on these policies. What questions, concerns does anyone have?
So in essence, the current version, Mr. Graham, can you put up the draft 351? Yeah. The draft version of it with the changes highlighted. Proposed Okay, so in essence, at the last board meeting, there were some conversations around what I guess I'll call the strength of the disciplinary consequences for an employee who refuses a drug test after a finding of reasonable suspicion. So, Mr. Walkemuth, Mrs. Brady, and I, and Dr. Musser met with the solicitor, and sort of, I think the four of us did a nice job of pounding out some language that addresses everyone's concerns while still providing appropriate protections for employees when the refusal of a chemical test might not be knowing and voluntary. And the language that you see up here is the language that we came up with under reasonable suspicion at the end. So I think the language is self-explanatory, but if anyone has any questions, I think any of us who were involved in that process are happy to answer them.
Any questions, Mr. Wagner, Mrs. Brady?
No, I have no questions.
Yeah, I don't either. No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right, hearing none, I'll ask for a vote. All those in favor?
In favor.
In favor.
All right, so that's an 8-0. That passes. There's none opposed. Thank you. And I believe that concludes, you'll see the schedule of upcoming meetings. So I believe that concludes our meeting. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, we have an exec afterwards?
And just one,
Okay.
Mr. Keener, then on the 14th, that will actually be the second reading.
We will need, okay, so the retirement of 351-1 is immediately effective.
Yeah.
That's effective
Yeah, for the,
immediately. 351 will go to second reading.
on the
Oh, yeah.
14th.
Thank you for that clarification. All right, any other clarifications, questions? And I'll just announce that we're going to move to executive session for legal after this meeting. So can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All right, Mr. Wagner, second, Mr. Maris, first. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
We have to vote.
Oh, we got to vote.
we voted.
We voted. Well, nobody's going to say no. Stop it.